Guys, I'm a little bit upset because there's been so much that I wanted to talk about with the entire situation going on Fortnite and the community right now, but if you've been following the channel, unfortunately my uploads have been very spotty because, long story short, I took a giant chunk out of my tongue, and it's been difficult to speak for long periods of time. But, don't want to keep you, we are going to be talking about specifically with a user by the name of Ronnie, who is responsible for the thumbnail, or at least played a very large part in the thumbnail making for the Steal a Brainrot map that everybody's been freaking out about Fortnite. Let me bring you to exactly the type of post that I'm talking about. This is what we're going to be breaking down today. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with many YouTube channels. So let me start off by reading this post by Ronnie, because Ronnie has been receiving a lot of hate and still is receiving a lot of hate. I still see people talking about Steal the Brainrot and people talking about how horrible this thumbnail designer is, okay? Ronnie is a 3D artist and thumbnail designer, and I've seen a lot of the work that he's had. I just don't know with whatever. I'm sure that there have been many successful thumbnails that he's made. But anyways, everybody's been talking about specifically the Steal the Brainrot one, okay? So this is what he had to say. I'm going to give my thoughts, and then we're going to take a look at what a few people had to say, because it's difficult to find anything constructive when it comes to these types of things, because all you're hearing is like, what a piece of crap. Like, you know, those types of responses, okay? This is what he had to say. I've received many messages about the use of AI in the thumbnail. I just want to clarify that this work took me 2 full days, 16 plus hours, and it's not all AI. I don't have to explain to haters how I do my job, but it's clear they've never seen my previous projects. A map based on Brainrots needs a thumbnail in the same style. AI is a tool that enhances our work as designers. Those who don't adapt will become obsolete. You won't be replaced by a machine, you'll be replaced by somebody who knows how to work with one. Now, I can already see why this led to a lot of hate, but I also wanted to expand on it just a little bit more before we get into, like I said, I want to get into the Fortnite community's thoughts along with it as well. So, like I said when reading this message, or prior to, Ronnie, of course, recently clarified that he used AI as a tool for one of his designs, and honestly, probably more than one, but the entire Fortnite community is particularly pissed off about the Roblox one. Everybody under the sun is throwing insults, probably death threats in his DMs, and a lot of, get ready, misinformation has been thrown his way, okay? We'll touch on all of that just a little bit today. Now, guys, if you've been on the channel before, you would know that we've talked about the entirety of AI and misconceptions of AI, especially when it comes to something, touchy, which shouldn't be touchy, as like generative AI. But for those of you who are new, here's the recap. We'll keep it simple, okay? I understand the fear. I'm very, very much worried for the future in society, and I hate that a lot of jobs are probably going to become obsolete. I am also personally affected by job loss. So what everybody needs to understand when we talk about this is that I am, for the most part, on their team, okay? But we have to be realistic about how this technology actually works. Like I said, I don't want to dive incredibly deep into like that particular conversation today. If you're interested, then check out the Roblox Fortnite video that we just uploaded recently. I actually dive a little bit more into there, and if you're interested on the Clenday channel, we have specific videos on the topic. So, about everybody hating on Ronnie in particular, people are typically very ignorant and arrogant about how much time and skill goes into professional design, and it really shows here, because they see the word AI and automatically think that the creator just typed in a prompt and hit a button and get your slop, That's not how it works. As much as you probably don't want to hear it, a talented designer does use AI as a tool, just as they would like Photoshop or something along the lines of Blender. It's just like an assist. It's not a replacement of their talent and effort, okay? I will admit though, okay, there are absolutely people out there that are just typing prompts and calling themselves artists. I get the backlash beyond that. I get how insulting that could be to somebody who, actually does art, okay? But the problem is that everybody assumes that's the case about everyone, and it makes a lot of people that are crying about this look foolish. As Ronnie himself said here, it's clear that they've never seen his previous work. Ronnie isn't just some random person. He's a highly respected and successful designer. His body of work speaks for itself and proves that, why exactly he's at the top of his game, It took me all of 15 seconds, to just take a look at a lot of his work, and some of them are really well made, clickable designs on there. It's nice. People act like this entire work is so simple. Do you think that he's been successful so far by typing in a prompt? The map with his thumbnail reached over 400,000 concurrent players, and that's a conversation for another time, but assuming the numbers Epic provides are real, if it was so easy, everybody would be doing this. Everybody would be typing one prompt in, bang, there you go, success. By the way, Have you ever tried making thumbnails with something like ChatGPT? And honestly, I encourage you to give that a shot. What you will realize very quickly is how difficult it is to actually utilize AI. Again, I understand the hate for AI, and I am on your team for worrying about jobs and the future in general, but we have to recognize what's actually going on here. His last quote in his post over here is absolutely spot on. You won't be replaced by a machine, you'll be replaced by somebody who knows how to work with one. That is the mindset of a true professional and someone looking into the future. He's not exactly afraid of new technology, which he very well could be, but it doesn't sound like that, okay? But instead of crying about it online, he's embracing it to stay ahead of the game. Now, something that I have been touching on here that I am a very big believer with this entire thing is that most people don't actually care about the issues. They want the likes and or just like have been conditioned to immediately hate somebody's song as they hear the words AI in their post or just hear someone else say it. And last time I did get a couple comments about that, and I would like to clarify something. I do acknowledge and respect anybody who does take issue with the worries about AI for real. I respect that, and I understand there are people out there that really do care. I just believe that's the minority of people, and I don't think I'm wrong in saying that, because you could bring any issue to the table, and people would take issue with it. It's just whatever they read, you know? For those of you who have been against Ronnie and the use of AI tossing around death threats and insults, like, that's just not the way to get your point across, because you do see a lot of that in these types of situations. And I'm willing to bet that Ronnie has some very, very nasty DMs that he never opened about, insulting people. It's just not a valid argument. And it will only make, and I don't understand why people think differently, it will only make people like Ronnie more inclined to not only completely ignore you in the future, it's more likely to make people say something along the lines of, excuse my language, fuck these guys. And that will make someone turn away from your cause and hurt the very industry that you are working so hard to save. Go look through any of his quote tweets or people talking about the thumbnail and reply to that one singular post. Look what you'll find. And again, I guarantee you there are even nastier DMs. You do not get to have people rally behind you by just insulting them. And I already could have seen it coming. Like, usually I like to quote posts like this and get some sort of community involvement. And while I do love and respect when people disagree with the stuff that I'm talking about, I already know that I wouldn't have received like anything constructive. Something like, oh, and excuse my language, this guy's a piece of shit, or he's just stealing art from real artists. So I decided to skip out on the community for this one. I welcome any of you to comment down below, though, because I have been, and I'll talk about this real quickly, guys. I've been slacking on the comments, and I do plan on working harder with that. I really respect the time that you take out of your day, which is a very valuable time to leave a comment on this and like any one of our videos over here. The least that I could do is reply. It's just getting difficult because I've been getting a lot more views on older videos and with my other channels, and I just want you to know that I really, really appreciate it, and I am going to work to do better in that department, and I'm sorry for not being able to get to these comments. But anyway, before we continue, it's just wrong to put somebody on blast for using a tool that's available to everybody, and a tool that everybody is using, by the way, even most of the people who hate AI. And by the way, you guys have no idea what kind of mental state that Ronnie could possibly be in. You guys have to understand that there is a real person behind this screen, not some like evil, hateful man, and this kind of online mob behavior can really have an impact on somebody. I personally know, it's important to note that I would argue that if you have a presence online that you should have some thick skin, but let's be honest, would you really want to be responsible for somebody taking their life one day? There are people who do that very often that you actually don't hear about it, and to get a little bit of personal with you, I've seen it so many times that I possibly couldn't count it. I'm somebody, if you're new to the channel, who used to work in healthcare, and this type of thing kind of hits home a little bit for me because people don't understand. I've seen all the failed attempts, and I've had to physically fight with people to, stop themselves from continuing to succeed in their mission to be nice about it, and, like, despite anything that is said to them or done to them. You never know what your giant mob attacks could do to somebody. You never know, and nobody knows, like, how real this type of stuff really gets. And the reason why I mentioned that, I mentioned that earlier is because, like, I've changed my mind about this a little bit because the hate online was something that even I had to get used to, and I have beyond extremely tough skin. I could always deal with it, but there have been times where the online hate made me angry. Angry is the proper word for it, because things were being made up about me that weren't true. Even when I talk about videos like this, it's going to happen. And I put a lot of effort into my reputation What if I was somebody who thought that they could handle it getting an online presence, but couldn't because it's a lot at once? Death threat after death threat, being called piece of crap, things like that. And spreading the word to others who have never heard about you, but now actively, insult you and just completely hate your guts. It all kind of comes at once. And you never know who you're actually talking to. And the people, usually the people that you're going after do not deserve what you guys do to them. This man was just working, using a tool that everybody else uses. And I will not hear about, how everybody just refuses to use this stuff, okay? But my apologies, I got a little bit carried away. I just wanted to mention that. Ultimately, guys, Ronnie shouldn't feel like he has to apologize or bow down to any haters, because even if he came out and said that, hey, guys, I'm sorry, I'll never use AI again, you just know that it wouldn't be enough for everybody. They would just find another reason to be angry, or they just wouldn't forgive him. The next time that you want to get mad about something online, the right thing to do is to just chill for a second. Instead of just completely going online and attacking the person, try to understand the bigger picture. We need to learn how to have more mature conversations about, within gaming in the Fortnite community. And this is a perfect example as of why. And I encourage you, all of you watching this video, to truthfully look into how these programs and software are used for tools, and to actually learn how generative AI works before talking about it. Because, like I said in my previous video that we talked about, if you are uneducated about the topic, it shows more than you think it does when you start yapping online. So I always kind of feel bad for, people like Ronnie when this kind of hate comes out of nowhere, because they make something successful for themselves. They're very happy about it, and they're met with nothing but, not just negativity, just real hate. And sorry, I had to break my stride a little bit. I had to do a jump cut because my tracking got turned off. But of course, it's not just about what I think. I wanted to take a look at what a few other people had to say about this as well. Like I said, usually we get an authentic reaction to these types of things, but I looked for some replies myself and chose some because it's difficult with this type of conversation to get anything constructive. By the way, like and subscribe if you have not already. Let's hear what a couple people had to say. Any hate you receive should be viewed as a compliment, bro. I always thought you were the best on creative thumbnails, and the Brainrot kind of proves my point. Yeah, he's been phenomenal. And Ronnie responded, said you were there from the beginning. This is another, example of the work that he's done. And this thumbnail is absolutely phenomenal. Do you really think that this entire thing's AI? You can't discredit something that you can't discredit an entire person's work because, and I don't even know how many times he's used AI, to be honest with you. I think that looks amazing. I think that is awesome. And there's something that we learn in the online space once you start getting involved with it, that if you are running into hate, then you're doing the right thing, because misery loves company. Jealousy will always come forth and show itself. Code Leo J had this to say, AI or you're not winning. That's where the hate stems from. It's true. And again, I really, really worry about the future of AI, and I'm going to be making a big video for my predictions with AI and my worries for AI in the future, because this is something that I'm personally passionate about. I am beyond scared for what the future is going to look like with AI. I'm not on team more opportunities are going to present themselves. I'm on team hey, everybody's going to be effed up. Okay, sorry, excuse my, I know I didn't say it, but you know what, you get my point. But that's not the takeaway from that's not what's going to be the takeaway from this video. The takeaway from this video is going to be oh my god, you're defending a piece of crap and you hate artists. I'm interested in this topic. I'm invested in this topic. And if you want to hear about it, I'll be uploading about it on the Clenday Channel. We talk about AI here and there. Claude had this to say. You won't be replaced by a machine. You'll be replaced by somebody who knows how to work with one. Very well said. I don't know where that quote came from, but I've heard it a couple times, and it's honestly very, very well said. Rico had this to say about it. All the unnecessary hate over the use of AI is dumb and stupid. Talking about AI slop is just ignorant of one's skill. Ronnie is a good designer, hands down. Like he said, those who don't adapt will become obsolete. You won't be replaced by a machine. You'll be replaced by somebody who knows how to work with one. There are limits to what you can think of. AI is supposed to help broaden that aspect of creativity. Using AI as a tool is smart. Using AI to do everything? No. AI doesn't replace creativity, it amplifies it. The real skill is knowing how to use every tool available and still put in the hours to craft something unique. Respect the grind. I agree with a lot of this, but the problem is this one's a little bit touchy. AI is being used to help broaden the aspect of creativity. AI can get pretty creative. So that's another thing that I'm actually really worried about for the future, is that AI can oftentimes come up with ideas that I personally could never, it's crazy how human-like it can get sometimes. And that's one of the things that I'm personally worried about. But it's a tool that's available, and it's a tool that everybody's going to be using. And if you're somebody in this type of industry, you are going to be left behind unless you are a master of your craft. You are going to be left behind by AI, and I hate to say that. I'm just acknowledging reality here. And it makes me sad when I see somebody like Ronnie succeeding in this space, doing something great for him. I think about all of the generational wealth that the people behind Steal a Brainrot can, get for themselves. The people they could help, the lives that they could create for themselves. That makes me happy, and it makes my heart like gleam with opportunity at the same time. I never want to hate on successful people, because usually the whole there's a big attitude of like anytime anybody's successful, we like to try to tear them down. I don't want to do that at all. I'm happy for people, and I'm not going to get mad at somebody for using a tool that everybody else on the planet's using. And I don't care. Like, I know that I'm going to hear about that in the comments, but that's the attitude that a lot of people should have. And I'm on team. I'm very worried about the future with AI. It's a toughie. But if you want to talk a little bit more about AI in general, have you watched our Darth Vader video within Fortnite? Why don't you check out this video when everybody was talking about AI over there? I'd love to have you over there. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Take care, everybody.